So it seems the Conservatives in Canada have finally taken their hands out of their cavernous asses and put an actual Conservative at the helm. I mean, of course, Poilievre. Cards on table, I was honestly concerned the party establishment would try to pull a Biden. That is to say, telling us that the guy who won is the one who was disparaging the Conservative base all the time, couldn't draw anybody to his rallies, and was a very obvious liberal plant. For those lucky enough not to know about him, this guy was the Prime Minister of Quebec, one of, if not the most liberal province in Canada, as the leader of the Provincial Liberal Party. But despite the Conservative Party doing me a concern, when there's a landslide for Poilievre on 68% of the vote, ending the race right there, it would have been very difficult to declare Charest a winner. But anyway, Poilievre has been elected, I had him as my first choice, Lewis second and Baber as my third, and we have the predictable results from the left and its journalist chills.
Let me just say that thank you very much. I'm being heckled here by thank you very much for your congratulations. Thank you very much for your questions.
So yeah, the media paid for by Trudeau, and still sinking, is having the same kind of meltdown it had for Trump down south, and the current survey suggests that this would be Trudeau's last election. Hopefully. The two didn't make much comment during the Conservative campaign, he was too busy being on vacation apparently, but the last surveys are probably throwing a wrench in his early election plans. Now, I'm aware that we've had elections barely a year ago, the ones where the Conservative was stupid enough to put a red Tory at the helm, and people are skeptical about having a new one so soon. However, consider the following. 1. If Poilievre was even remotely honest during his campaign, he kind of positioned himself as an anti-World Economic Forum, anti-establishment candidate, a little bit like a Trump light, if you will. However, he is also inheriting a party that is full of fake conservatives, and some of them are members of the World Economic Forum as well. Which means, if he wants to stay in the good graces of the conservative voter base, he's gonna have to do a lot of cleanup, and by cleanup I mean purge all of the red Tories. So obviously triggering elections before Poilievre is sure of who is on his side and who is not would be good for the Liberals and for Trudeau. Second point is, Trudeau has a minority government, which means he has the biggest party in parliament, however he does not hold half plus one of the seats. So obviously he has to cohabitate with other left-wing party, most notably the NDP with his waifu Jagmeet Singh. Problem is, nobody in said waifu's party wanted to have a cohabitation. At all. And there's nothing Idris Elba can do this time. So Trudeau's lapdog is getting a lot of pressure from his own party in order to break this coalition. And the longer this coalition lives, the more he himself becomes unpopular in his own voting base. The third point is, the Liberals under Trudeau have gone so far left, the other left-wing parties have essentially become redundant. Which is probably why, despite being the second biggest left-wing party in Canada, the NDP is completely fucking broke. They are so broke, the dingiest trailer park is a luxury for them. So obviously when your, let's call it partner, has a remarkably unpopular leader and is not capable of running or paying for its campaign, there's not really any reason to keep them as an ally. Which is probably why the Liberals seems to be trying to be poaching voters on NDP land. Which most elegantly transitions to the last point. Trudeau has been doing a lot of photo ops. Literally, he has been flying coast to coast in Canada, making as many appearances as he possibly could, even if in Alberta he didn't really turn as he wanted. But anyway, to me it shows that he's not only preparing for an election, he's already campaigning. It's September 18th when I'm recording the audio, and the parliamentary session is restarting in a few days as well, and I'm kind of surprised that we haven't heard anything yet, because, in all likelihood, the only chance that the Third has to remain in power is to trigger election, and as I've said, try to poach as many seats as possible from the NDP, in order to get a majority and last for a while longer. If he waits though, I think it might give Poilievre time to consolidate his position and kick his enemies out. I'm just hoping that Poilievre will not be as stupid as the past two leaders who tried to out-liberal the Liberals, but that's a story for another time. So, if you want to hear that story, you can subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm also shitposting a lot on Twitter, you can find the link below. I'm also on Utreon, I'm on Rumble, and I opened the Patreon just in case you want to participate in Gunny making his own guns. Anyway, salut bonsoir!